Good morning, everyone. Hi, Anna. So lovely to be back with you for our meaningful conversations. If you are watching this or you come in during the afterplay, let us know. You can engage with us on LinkedIn. And we're doing another meaningful conversation. Anna, how long have we been doing this now?
So four
Maybe
weeks ago, 4 weeks
two.
ago,
No, I
yes.
mean, how long have we been doing it for? Oh, 4 weeks ago, yeah.
Oh, the last time we did was 4 weeks ago, and we've been nearly 3 years.
Nearly 3 years. So
Mm,
I wanted to
time
start
flies.
really by sharing with our listeners why we started doing this,
Mm,
and why we're going to talk about one of the universal laws today. And
mm.
then, and so I'll ask you to also say why you and I started doing this. But first of all, I want to tell you why we're doing one of the universal laws today. And the reason is I'm going to bring in my dad again and tell you or remind you that when I was growing up, my dad said to me when I was quite young, probably about 12, Karen, you can have your own business or you can do whatever you want. You can do or be whatever you want when you grow up. And so I kept that, I grew up with a different set of beliefs than many do, because we get our beliefs from our family, our parents, the people who care about us. They're not our own. And I grew up with those beliefs from my dad, which was a huge gift. He gave me the gift to believe that I could be or do whatever I wanted when I grew up. And he did that again later in life when he was helping me to start riding a motorcycle again. And he knew I would have lost confidence because I hadn't ridden for 20 or so years. And he said to me, when I hesitated, because he'd taken me out, and he said, I'll help you get your confidence again. And I stopped. It was on his motorcycle, which was too tall for me. And I stopped and I wouldn't move. And he said, what are you doing? Why aren't you, taking off? And I said, because I'm scared. And he said, what are you scared of, Karen? I said, I'm scared I'll drop it. I'll drop your motorcycle. And he looked at me and he said, Karen, it's all in your head. And so
Mm.
those are two amazing gifts. And now later in life, and that was before, it was 5 years before, I think about 5 years or maybe 6 or 7 years before, I became a coach. And I learned that I had I had achieved things in my life because of the universal laws that I learned about when I became a life mastery consultant. I learned about these laws with Mary Morrissey and Bob Proctor. Many of you will have heard of those people. And so one of the programs I teach is working with the law, and it is about the 11 main universal laws and the 12th one, which is knowing that there are these universal laws that govern our lives, that are in our lives there, just like the laws of gravity or the law of electricity or the law of thermodynamics. Just because we can't see them may not, or we're not aware of them, it doesn't mean they're not working on us all the time.
I
So
like
it's
that.
super
Mm.
important, to understand that these universal laws were operating, and they were operating in my life and your life, Anna, in my dad's life, and everyone's life, even though we weren't aware of them at the time. And yet when I learnt about them, I realized I had used many of them during my life. And one of them was when I created that business that my dad told me I could have when I was a child. And I realized that I created a really clear vision with the law of thinking of how I wanted that business to look, how I wanted my life to look when I had that business. And it was a really, really clear picture in my head with colors and how the business was inside and what our clients would be like. It was really, really clear detail. The only thing I didn't do, which I didn't know how to at the time, was write it down. But I had that picture in my head in detail and specificity. And that is one of the universal laws, is the law of thinking, that what we think about becomes real, we create. So when you suggested, Anna, that we talk about one of the universal laws, which is the law of compensation today, I thought that's a great idea, because we haven't been through all of these laws with our audience for meaningful conversations. And so that's the reason why I do what I do, and why, Anna, you and I, because we have so much in common with our thinking and our beliefs, that when we first met each other, we instantly connected, and we instantly saw that each one of us had a lot in common, and we wanted to do something together, right? So
you brought the best out of me. You have that ability to bring the best out of me. And that's why I love being in a conversation with you. And who wouldn't want to be, having a conversation regularly with someone who brought you see your potential, who saw your strength, who see your, who make you feel like I can do it. I can have it. I can create. And that's one of the reasons why I agree to this commitment. And I loved it. I loved the whole journey. And I love every time we talk. I've learned so much every time I listen to you, Karen. And surely there are many other reasons, but that's one of my reasons why I am with you.
Yeah. And, you probably, Anna, had a thought at some time before we met or after we met that you would like to be on a podcast or to be out there in some way to bring about something in your life that you would love. You probably had that thought. And maybe you even thought, I would like to meet someone who will help me to be on a regular webinar, or be somewhere, be teaching my work, or, be doing something to help my branding or to make a difference, right?
Yeah.
And, that's what happens is when we think, we are manifestors. We are natural manifestors. We will do it anyway. We will do it by default if we don't do it on purpose. And so you would have been thinking things like that, and I would have popped into your life and gone, hey, we've got so much in common. Would you like to be on my podcast? Or, something happened like that, didn't it? Do you remember how it happened, Anna?
Yes, definitely. There's always the thought. And like you often said, everything happened twice. It happened in your mind first before it happened in real life. And I'm grateful that the thought that popped up in my mind a while ago eventually, come into fruition. And talking with you is one of the highlights and how it turned out. And sometimes it's quite a surprise, like I thought, but I didn't know who yet. Yeah. And then I met you. And then when I saw that, I knew, okay, it's incompatible. And we both want to bring out to the world the belief, the knowledge, the solution for them to create the life they desire rather than the life by default. And that's in common. You have a solution, I have a solution, and we can both bring it out to the world. And like you said, what you share show me what I shared recently on LinkedIn, that the ABC of success. And I could hear that in you all again and again. You have the attitude of gratitude. That is the A, the A on the list. And then the B is your belief. And your belief was you built upon what the gift your dad gave you. Yeah, so that is really amazing to hear. And many of us didn't have that gift from our parents or the society we are in. So we might be building a belief otherwise.
Yes.
The belief that I can't do it, or my life is not meant to be great. But we can always choose from this moment to change. We can believe it's just a thought in our mind. And so you got that as well. You got the belief that you succeed, believe that you add value to other people, believe that you meant something, your life meant something to the world. And then you consistently communicate that is the ABC of success, and you got it all. And it's amazing that you want to bring it out and share to other people. And I would love to see that happening as well with other people. Doing the work alone is great, but it's much greater doing it with other like-minded people. And so that was one of the reasons I love our collaboration. And it has been great, hasn't it, Karen?
It has been really great, and it's so easy and it flows. And that's the thing about the universal laws that I learned, is that when you learn about them and you understand them, life becomes easier and flows. And so it's such a gift to learn about these universal laws, because like I say, they're there anyway. They're doing what they do anyway. We interact as humans with the universe. And so it's really important to understand how we do that. And it's through that spiritual side of us, which is our thinking and our unconscious minds, because our unconscious mind knows everything. And I was on a session this morning with one of my master coaches, and she said, you know, when we lose something, we just ask our unconscious mind, because our unconscious mind knows everything, right? And I'd lost something. I'd lost this balm that I was looking for, because I've got this sort of dermatitis-y kind of thing on my hand, and I've been putting this balm on. And I knew this morning when I went into this other room and I had it with me and I put it down, I thought, that's an unusual place. Just that thought came into my head. That's an unusual place to put it. I want to remember where, I want to make a note of where I'd put it. And guess what? I couldn't find it. And so I was sitting on my Zoom, looked everywhere in the house, and she said this. She said, if you want to find anything, just ask your unconscious mind to bring it to your conscious mind, and you will know where it is. And, you know, at that time, I had a thought about the one room I hadn't looked in, because it was a room I'm doing a pet sit at the moment, looking after some pets for some people, and it was a room the guinea pigs are in. And I'd gone in to check on them, which was an unusual room. I didn't go in very often. I'd gone in to check on them, and I had this with me to bring it downstairs. And I had put it down while I was checking on the guinea pigs, and I walked out without it. And I had this sudden thought when she said, ask your unconscious mind where it is. I thought, my unconscious mind knows where it is, because I had said to myself, or it had said to me, that's an unusual place to put it. And so then that room, it could be in that room, and went up and got it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, you know, there's so many things that we know as coaches, and we know as servants of this learning. And so going back to your beliefs, I was fortunate. I had some beliefs that my dad gave me that served me in the future, in my life. Some of us weren't so fortunate. However, what we know about our beliefs is that they're not ours. They're given to us by other people, and you can choose to accept them and believe in them or not. And so if you have a belief that doesn't serve you, you can't do that sort of belief, right?
I used to have a lot of them.
Yeah.
I used to have a lot of them given to me. And as a child, I didn't know whether it's right or wrong. It repeatedly, because we learn through our senses, right? We take all the information to our senses. And if you're repeatedly given the information as a child without knowing which way is right or wrong, you took it in, and it become like a solid, like someone dumping garbage into your psyche. You're learning, you store in there. And I used to store some of them that didn't suit me, didn't work for me. It didn't help me achieve greater things, you know, like, but somehow we got a mixture of yes, I can, and no, I can't for certain things. We don't purely have just one way or another, I believe.
That's right.
We store in our mind a lot of information, and it can be in conflict of one another. And whichever is stronger will take precedent, right? And we act upon the strongest belief at the time, I think. And so when it shifts and it changes, when I come into contact with people who restore or dig in my system to find the winning moment, to find the meaning of my situation again, and then I got to choose as an adult with the full capacity to analyze and choose for myself. So I think we're lucky as an adult. We get into contact with that because I believe the wisdom of the world is carried down and passed on to other people through people. So we acting like you're acting as a tool, as a medium to carry the wisdom, the insight, the knowledge from the previous wise people. And whether you are doing that or you store for yourself and keep it for yourself, it's a matter of choice. And I can see that you, Karen, you have such a beautiful way to want to share openly, willingly, consistently with your communication of the laws that you believe that will help a lot of people change and become, happier, more wealthy, and, achieve what they want in their life. And we just acting like that, like a tool, like a messenger, carry. And one of my teachers said repeatedly to us, we are nothing but the messenger. So don't make a big deal out of it. Knowledge is from, ancients, that known. And we just spent 100 years learning and, sharing, learning and sharing. And he say, there's no such bad or good people. They're just people who knows the law or who doesn't know yet. And one day they'll know. When if we live against the law, life will be difficult. Yeah. When it's so difficult, it forces people to say, hang on, I got to learn. Life will force us to learn. Or we can choose, deliberately learn and prepare before accident happen, before the challenges happen, before the deep, of life happen. And the wise one will learn and prepared. Prepare in a rainy day, in a sunny day for the storm to come. But some of us don't know that, and we just go with life and until the storm hit, and then we're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with this because we haven't been prepared. So what we are doing is, because my life hit me and forced me to learn as well. I didn't have the wisdom to learn and prepare in certain area. For example, having my child and didn't know what to do with my time. I didn't know how to balance time and career. That hit. And then so it forced me to learn. And then now I got the lesson and I wanted to spend, time sharing it. And I believe the knowledge can take people from, the majority of 90% of people struggling with time and money. And if they get the knowledge, they can move themselves into the 10% and expand that group, make that 15%, 20%. Imagine that impact of what they're doing. Imagine that.
So, wouldn't that be great?
Yes.
Because you're right, Anna. It's only about 1 to 3% of people who learn about these things that we are talking about, Anna. Most people live with what we call the status quo, which is as a result of the communal world beliefs telling us what we can and can't do. And most people don't even know that there are things like laws that we can follow and become involved in more to, I guess, to create that life, that 10 out of 10 life that we would love. And I've got another funny story on that one is I've probably told you this, Anna, but maybe some of our listeners won't know it, is that one of my daughters is a lawyer. And when she had left home and she'd left a whole lot of stuff at my home, and she said, I'm going to come and get all my things. And so I got them out of the cupboard they were in and put them all on the bed. And she came over and then took everything, and then a bit later she came back to see me, and she had a book in her hand, and she said, and she looked a bit sheepish, you know, she looked a bit kind of uncomfortable.
How old was she?
And she said,
How old
oh,
she then?
she was in her early 20s. She was at university, so because she studied to be a chef before that, so she didn't do her main degree until she was in her early 20s. And she said, Mum, this book that you had in my things, she said, it's not my book. And it was called Working with the Law. And she said, it's not my book. I don't study that kind of law. And it was a book written by Raymond Holliwell, which was part of my training. And it's about the universal laws. And so it was so funny because I'd just seen it in her stuff and threw it into in that cupboard and thrown it into her pile, thinking it was a legal book. And it was a legal book, but it wasn't that kind of law. And so on that note, Raymond Holliwell is the person who wrote that, very famous author who wrote that book, Working with the Law. And I want to give you a quote by him, which goes like this. Desire connects you with the things desired, and expectation draws it into your life. This is the law. And that is actually the law of attraction. There has to be two energies and frequencies that we are operating at for the law of attraction to come into place. And most people don't learn about the two. Most people think if I just want something, if I just desire something, it will happen. No, it won't. It's the two energies, which is the having a very strong desire, something that we're so in love with, and then having an expectation that we will receive it, that it will happen. When those two frequencies and energies we are operating at, then the law of attraction comes into place. Whoops, my computer's going flat, so I'm going to have to get my plug and plug it in. So,
how did this work with the law of compensation, Karen?
So that's what we're doing today, is the law of compensation, which is one of the 11 universal laws. Just let me plug it in. And it works like this. As I said to you, everything is created. You mentioned, Anna, everything's created twice. Most of us don't know the power of this. And using the universal laws is our power, or understanding them. So the law of compensation can be, and then I'll say what I think, and you please share what you know about it, Anna. So the law of compensation for me can be summarized like this. The better we serve, the more skilled we become, the greater the demand and the greater the reward. So how do we serve better and become more skilled? One is to become a person of increase. So always give more value than the person paid for, say, in cash. Make sure that every interaction we do with another person is a transaction of increase, where the other person leaves feeling richer and feeling like they've received huge value, more than they expected. That's how we serve better. And then the better your service, guess what? The greater the reward and the more business you will attract. So this is in relation to your business, right? Ask yourself, how can I be a better person of increase in every interaction? How can I bring greater value? And then diligently practice and hone your craft. Ask yourself, what is my craft? How do I get better at it? Ask yourself, say, what are 5 things I can do each day to hone my craft? And think about ideas of how to become more skilled, because literally the better we are at our craft, whatever that is, practice, practice, practice is what helps us to become more skilled. They talk about 100 hours of practice to become a master. So find a mentor, study your craft, study those who have perfected what you want to perfect. That's how we become more skilled. So, and when you've shared what you think of the law, what you have to share about the law of compensation, Anna, I'll also talk about afterwards 4 things to avoid when you're wanting to increase your compensation. So, Anna, over to you. What can you share with us about what the law of compensation means?
I totally agree with what you just shared in terms of the meaning of the law of compensation. As I think I write down many keywords, and it gives me a lot more question than answer. And I believe it would give a lot of a trigger questions in my mind, and I believe in the listener's mind, because we would say, when you say increase, what does it mean? Like, for me, increase in what? How do we know that we actually, in our interaction, I increase value in you? And that is a big question for a person to answer. And that's why coaching coming into place. So because through coaching, I got the answer for myself. And it took me years, it took me months to sometimes answer one question. Like, what is the values? That is the highest value for me. And then what can I bring to the world as the highest value that I see? And that took me months of learning with my coach and mentors, and finally come to a question, an answer that I am 100% satisfied with. Because value is a big word, and it can be very confusing for other people, because something that you consider valuable for you may not be appreciated by me, right?
Sure.
And in any conversation that happens, that you get something great value to you, but the person didn't need it at the time, and it didn't take it. I'm not sure how much time we have got left, and the sound is a little bit. I'm not sure from my end.
It's good for me. It sounded all good for me. I could hear everything.
Yeah, maybe my house, the system can be quite tricky sometimes. We're in the process of moving, so anyway, it's good now.
Good.
Yes. So in terms of the law of compensation, what you share is valuable. However, I can see it left question for people to clarify for themselves. In order to get that clarity, we need to go through a process of learning, getting ABC in. Yeah. And a lot of us, we think we know. In my life, there's a certain point in my life I thought I knew everything already. Yeah, because I worked well. I came to Australia. I got promoted. I got scholarship. I can do this. I achieve goals. But then I hit some point. I felt I thought my life was good. I can handle it. I can manage it. But how come I get stuck here at the age of 47? That was weird. Yeah, I thought I knew everything, but then when problem hit, then I realized there must be something out there that I didn't know. Because if I knew it, my life should be okay. Yeah. So but the thing is, it forced me to go out and learn, and then I've learned a few things. And in terms of the law of compensation, I could see at certain point at that point in my life, I thought I worked hard. How come I didn't get what I put out? Do you know what I mean? Like, I felt unfair. I felt undervalued. I felt wrong. I felt like, because the law of compensation say you get what you give equally in return. But there's a certain point in life, and I believe that a lot of us feel that way. And I hear that a lot from other people who complain, oh, my boss didn't treat me well. They didn't give me that promotion that I deserve. How can I give it to another person who doesn't deserve? So the law of compensation doesn't seem to really work in the workplace. Yeah. And especially when I started my business, the law of compensation didn't work as an entrepreneur either. Didn't you experience that in the first few years of your business life? You constantly pouring time, effort, money, investing in it, but you didn't get the profit, right? You pay your employees before you pay yourself. Yeah. So how does it work in that case? How do you explain that, Karen?
So people misunderstand. First of all, a good question, Anna. People misunderstand the law of compensation. So the law is about, let's put it this way, if the law of attraction is about where we place our interest, because it is, what we focus on, the law of compensation is about where we make our investments. Remember I said, invest in becoming a person of increase. So here are two investments we can make. One, become larger in your mind. When you get bigger than your current position, compensation will follow. So most of us say, because I'm standing, it's a little bit hard on my legs. I'm going to go back now. I gave my computer a little tap. Most of us will say something like, oh, I have a big problem, right? Or I've got a big day. Now, by doing that, what are we saying about ourselves? We're making ourselves be smaller than that big day or that big problem. And that's not the way to think. If I go, I know that I'm big enough to deal with that day I've got today or that problem I have, right? This is my problem. This is me. So when we make ourselves bigger than our current situation, the compensation follows. It all starts
with the thinking.
It all starts with our thinking. Everything starts with our thinking. And guess what? The majority of our thinking comes from our unconscious mind, which knows everything. And our conscious mind just analyzes what it wants to because of different things it believes in, or, our paradigms or our emotions or whatever is going on for our conscious mind. When you become, like I said, too large for your present place, you'll begin to draw yourself into something larger. You cannot attract the better until you first become larger. Larger in increase, larger in giving, larger in service. Right? So
but most of the time we think like this, I've done so much, but I didn't get it in return. I care for my husband so much or my wife so much, but she didn't care for me. We often think like that. And so we often think it's unfair treatment with any relationship, because compensation means a transaction. So it's got to be in relationship with someone, right? Whether with your spouse or whether with your children, whether with your colleagues at work, or whether with the bigger society. So if we think, oh, I give so much, I didn't get enough in return, the thinking is small, isn't it, Karen? Is that what you mean?
And the thinking is going to give you your results. So the only person we can change is ourselves, right? So if we go, my husband is not giving me enough love or affection or whatever, right? What if we decided to give our husbands more love and affection? Do you think that might change our husbands to be more loving and affectionate? If it's the right.
Yes.
So
that definitely does, but it's not easy to do straight away.
Exactly.
It takes effort, it takes learning, it takes changing your mindset. Yes.
Changing your thinking. It's always about our thinking. So if we're doubting something like our relationship with our husband, or we're thinking, oh, I'm not getting a fair return, guess what? You won't get it. Because you're putting that thought out there to the universe. The universe
doesn't put the decrees out there, That thought put the decrees because it creates negative emotion in another person.
And the universe doesn't judge what it gets from us. It just thinks that's what we want. So if we're putting out that thought, oh, I'm not getting a fair return from from anyone, my partner, my employer, my work colleagues, whoever, the universe gets, I want a unfair return. Right?
Yes.
That's how the universe
on
laws
point.
work.
Yes. Yes.
And we don't realize it. It's too late for us to, it's not possible for us to change things until we change ourselves, our thinking. We become more giving, more serving. Those are the laws.
Yes.
Those are the laws. So do everything successfully. When you perform your tasks to the very best of your ability, and you have, so you're honestly saying to yourself, I've been thorough in my work and I do it well. You infallibly bring out the best there is in you. And then otherwise, you otherwise expressed, you grow more capable and efficient, become better, and thereby you show more superiority, growing superiority. Other people respect you, other people look up to you. And the law is that he who becomes better will attract the better and be given the greater things to do. So if you say, I don't know where to start, you always start where you are now with what you have now. Always write a list. Where am I now? What do I have now that I can start with? What are my personal assets? We've talked about that before. My assets, not meaning physical material assets, but our assets, the things that we are good at, the things that we can contribute. Create an orderly home, create an orderly desk, create an orderly workplace, have your car orderly, clean and tidy. Whenever you get into it and it's clean and tidy, you will feel good. Create orderly finances. Create an orderly wardrobe where you keep your clothes. Do this project for yourself, no matter how small it may seem, and watch what happens in your life.
Love it, Karen.
So
practical. Start straight away. Start with your life. Start in your house. Start with the littlest, habit, and start reading a page a day. Learning about the law, so we can live in according with the law. Because we want a better life. That's all. We all want a better life. And
we're all deserving of it. We all deserve a better life. And the universe wants us all to be living in abundance, wants us to live our 10 out of 10 life. Do you know what your 10 out of 10
Design that 10 out of 10 life first. Yeah. Come to Karen for help to design. If you don't know what your life 10 out of 10 looks like, feel like, and be like, connect with Karen, connect with Anna. We can sit with you and design that life with you. We can take you to step and phases so you can go through the journey joyfully in according with the law. Yeah. So back to you, Karen. And do you have the last word before we wrap up our conversation today?
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, everyone who watches this. And I agree, Anna. Reach out to Anna or I, or both of us. Say hi. Tell us how you enjoyed the session today and what are your questions. Would you like help with building that 10 out of, with getting clarity and specificity around what would your 10 out of 10 life look like? Because many of us are incapable of dreaming that up because of that thinking, that way of thinking. We suddenly stop. Oh, I can't do that, so I won't write that out. I don't know how to achieve that, so I'm not going to put that in my vision for my 10 out of 10 life. And that's not how it works. You've got to know what it is first, and then the how will show up. So thank you, Anna. It's been a really great session. You'll let me know your ideas on what we're going to talk about next time. And I'd like to say goodbye before my computer goes flat again.
Goodbye, everyone. And I'm so grateful for the gift of belief that you keep on giving. And that is a wonderful asset. You see, that intangible asset that not everybody has. and you have that in abundance. I'm so grateful for that, Karen. I'm so grateful for our conversation, and I hope that our audience get 1 or 2 nuggets out of today's conversation. And I'll see you again soon. Speak soon.
Let us know what you got out of it. Thanks, Anna. Bye for now. Bye. I'm going to leave this now. Bye, everyone. I think it's finishing. Yes. In stream. It might cut you off again. Last time, I think